So the American people are fed up. They are tired of being lied to, told that everything's perfectly fine, you're perfectly safe, there's nothing to worry about. However, when reports come out that show and prove that yes, there are things that we should be worried about. There are concerns that U.S. officials know and have known for some time, but don't relay that information to the American people, to the voters. Well, guess what? That time is finally up. We have less than 1 week before the next election. In the next week, we are going to know, or should have a very good idea, of who is going to be running the country. Will it be former President Donald Trump, or will it be our current Vice President Kamala Harris? Also, who is going to be in charge of the Senate? Who will have the majority? Who will have the majority in the House? All these things matter. Now today, I want to break down a new report that just came out showing consumer confidence and the lies that we are now being told. Again, less than 1 week away from the next election. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed these daily updates, and now let's begin. So over the past couple of months, we've got a lot of different reports. We've seen reports on CPI, we've seen it on consumer confidence, we've seen it on just the economy in general. Today, we need to talk about American consumers and consumer confidence. It says American consumers feeling much more confident as election day nears. But what's interesting about this is how much more confident they are. Look at this. It says U.S. consumer confidence rises most since 2021 on labor market. Now, I want to address what these numbers look like because these numbers right here, well, they're very telling of what's coming. Look at this. It says the conference board said Tuesday that its consumer confidence index jumped to 108.7 in October from 99.2 in September. So as we get closer to the election, it's going up. It was the biggest monthly gain since March of 2021, but analysts forecast a more modest reading of 99.3. Now, it says the Consumer Confidence Index measures both Americans' assessment of current economic conditions and their outlook for the next 6 months. The biggest thing that's changing over the next 6 months is we are going to have a new president. Currently, President Biden, according to many reports, has not been doing the job that the American people chose him to do. He's not been the president. He's not running the country. We don't know who is, but it is not him. Now, I want to show you this. It says the U.S. economy grew at a 2.8% pace in the third quarter, less than expected. Now, here's the thing that we're about to see over the next week. We're going to see some reports, but the reports will likely be revised over the next couple of months. The reason we're going to see some different reports with some somewhat false numbers is because nobody wants to be running for president or, for the Senate or for, anything in the House, right? Nobody wants to be running for a position within our government, but yet we know the numbers aren't good. So what they're going to do, they're kind of going to manipulate the numbers a little bit before they release them. Now, I want to show you some of the key points here. It says gross domestic product, or GDP, increased at a 2.8% annualized rate in the third quarter, below the 3.1% estimate and the 3% reading for Q2. It says consumer spending and federal government outlays were two of the biggest contributors to GDP growth. It says the release comes with the Federal Reserve poised to lower interest rates further despite the seemingly strong economy and inflation that remains above target. Now, here's something I honestly can't believe we're still dealing with this, but we're still dealing with inflation. We're still dealing with a high interest rate. But here's the problem. Banks are continuing to tell people that the economy's strong, right? Businesses, they're still hiring, right? Now is the time to go and buy a house. Now is the time to go and buy a car. Now is the time to go and, take a vacation, open up a new line of credit, right? Do all these things. Now is the time. No, now is not the time. We're seeing, and I talk about this all the time here on the channel, businesses are laying people off. And if you don't see layoffs, And again, there's many businesses and people that I've talked to that they aren't going through layoffs, but what they're doing is the owners, okay, the CEOs, the board, they are now trying to reduce people's hours or reduce their wages because they want to get the same production but for less money. It's turning into a little bit of an issue. Now, I want to show you something else. Because what we are continuing to see is this problem is going to persist. It's not going to stop just because we have an election in 6 days. It's not going to change. Okay? The economy is still going to do what it does. People are going to continue to spend money. Credit card debt is going to continue to rise. People are still going to be delinquent on their homes and their cars and credit cards and things like that. But that's just the way that we're living right now. We're overspending. People are too confident that their job is still going to be there. And again, I've talked to several people, probably hundreds of people, and every single one of them is concerned that their job is going away, that they're losing their benefits. They don't have dental, they don't have vision insurance. Okay, they don't have a company car that they once did. Now they got to go and buy a car, get it at a high interest rate, right? Overpay for something that they didn't even want, but they have to because, well, they got to get to their job. And then you got businesses that are laying people off if they don't come back to the office for 5 days a week. Yeah, it's turning into a problem. But the time has finally come. This election is going to pretty much dictate the next 6 months to the next couple of years. Who we pick as the next president. Is it going to be Kamala Harris? If it is, honestly, I don't know exactly what she does different. If it's former President Donald Trump, he's likely going to do more for businesses, where businesses will then go and hire more people. And if you get more people coming in to, potentially work there, chances are you're going to be paying more. And so it's going to be very interesting what we see over the next handful of months. But here's what I can tell you. American people feeling confident about their future is probably a lie. Yeah, did their confidence go up the most since 2021? Yeah. But is consumer confidence at an all-time high? No, it's not. We are not confident. We're not confident because prices are still too expensive for food, for rent, for utilities, just basic necessities. And yet, when we go out there and try to get a job, some businesses aren't hiring. Some employers keep saying that they have hundreds of positions open. But when you go in to try to get one of those positions, they tell you, well, we'll give you a call. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get people kind of in the door so that eventually once those positions do open up or they're ready to rehire, then they can call those people and say, hey, we're ready for you, come on in. But guess what? The American people don't know that. The American people only know what they see on the news. What they see on the news is that there's millions of jobs that are available. You just got to go and pick one. It's not that easy. Now, here's the last thing I want to leave you with. Right now, everybody is concerned about what is potentially coming. We don't know what's going to happen with prices. We don't know what's going to happen with our interest rates. We don't know what's going to happen in this next election. We have no clue. But one thing that we do know, and the only thing that we know, is that in the next 6 days, it's going to be election day. And that is when your voice will hopefully be heard. So, I will leave you with that, but just know, as of today, that is all we know. That is all we know as of right now. But again, as we know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.